I want to read something to you. I don't know when the last time you read it was, but it's this story pretty early on in my cancer diagnosis, and it's a perfect example of how it can be the best, worst year of your life. Mm-hmm. My dad is on his way to Oakland, probably clad in his Radnor lacrosse sweats. I am due for my first chemo on Monday morning. With a life driven by sports, sales, and Catholicism, my dad's MO will doubtlessly involve attacking it, staying positive, and having faith. I'm not quite there. I've been so grown up in so many meetings and conversations and appointments lately. Such a big girl, such a good girl. With my dad in the house, I'm someone's child again. Someone else has to get me an iced tea, make me some dinner, bring me a cookie. Just thinking about how good it's going to be to have him around makes me well up. By the time I spot him on the curb at the airport, I am trembling. "Aw, Lovey," he says as he squeezes me and rocks me side to side. "Lovey, we're going to do it, kid. We're going to get it done. The green man is here, Lovey." I hold on a long time, crying and whispering "yeah" over and over again. When we come through the front door, Edward is waiting for us. They hug a nice, loud man hug. "Green man, thanks for coming, man," Edward says while they pat each other on the back. "Ark," my dad says. "Ark, God bless ya." My dad named Edward Arkansas Ed before he even met him, when he was just a guy who took me to a concert. In less than a year, Arkansas Ed became Ark, sometimes even Arky. "Come on in, Greenie, I'll take that." Edward runs the suitcase upstairs. "Green man," he calls from the second floor, "I got some Kettle One for you." Whoa, Ark, top shelf, fantastic. How about I start with a beer, though? My dad is talking into the fridge, searching out a cold beer, something to ease him into the vodka. I am smiling. Edward is down the stairs in no time, and the girls are at Amy's for dinner. "Greenie, I got you some Bud Lights. You know we usually have that heavy California beer, but I know you Philly guys love a Bud." My dad pulls out a can of beer and opens one for Edward and raises his eyebrow at me, and I nod, and he hands me his and leans in the fridge for another, and there we are, just like any other visit, having a cold beer together. Big day on Monday. I try to say it like my dad would, like it's a lacrosse game or a job interview, but I am not Greenie, and I start crying. "Lovey," he says as he runs his big, rough hand in circles on my rounded back, "you gotta stay positive. Right, Ark? We gotta stay positive." I want to wail like Georgia did last week when she slipped in the bathroom and hit her head on the tub, enraged, writhing, then sniveling into Edward's shoulder, leaving a big wet spot of tears and snot on his work shirt. But right then, with his hands still going in circles on my back, my dad says, "Now, Ark, tell me about Johnny Depp. Is he the real deal? Am I supposed to take him seriously?" And Edward tells him yes, he's definitely the real deal. And they talk a little about Johnny Depp movies until they can't remember what movie he's in right now. And I actually hear myself say, "Pirates of the Caribbean." And they say, right, that's it. It's the same trick we use when the girls start skidding into despair. "Oh, sweetie, don't cry. We'll find your bunny slipper. Look," we say in buoyant preschool teacher voices. "Look at Mr. Piggy. He's all alone in the living room. You better go give Piggy a hug." I sleep better that night, partly because I take 2 Ambien instead of 1, and partly because Greenie is here, padding around in his Brooks Brothers pajamas, delighting the girls by letting them watch him pop out his dentures, and promising to let Georgia paint his toenails the next day. Over a breakfast of coffee and chocolate chip cookies, I ask Greenie if he's ever had a pedicure. He laughs because his toenails are prehistoric, as grainy as petrified wood. I love pedicures, but I'm too cheap to get them. I want him to treat me to one. That, and I'm kind of starved for his particular energy, and I want him to come along. "You gonna leave the girls here with Ark? Ark, you okay with that?" my dad asks, which of course Edward is, because you can have anything you want when you have cancer, especially in the beginning. We drive down College Avenue toward Berkeley and pull up to Galaxy Nails, where they have an empty row of massage chairs. Remember this?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The door's been
And the
propped
lady.
open with a little foam wedge of pink toenail separators. The Korean sisters who run the place wave us in. We climb up into our thrones, and I explain to Greenie how to use the chair controls. Rolling thunder, beating hands, ocean waves. "Lovey, fantastic." Then he looks toward the sisters. "Ladies, I'm just an old billy goat out for my first pedicure." He settles in like a regular with the New York Times on his lap. I try to warn the sisters about his toenails, but words become unnecessary as he slides his crooked feet out of his updated Docksiders that have molded to the shape of his feet. 2 of his toes are taped together with white athletic tape, and have been for years.
And are right now.
One of the sisters rolls up his pant leg and guides his feet into the churning warm water, and he lets out a long sigh. His contentedness spreads, and we are all happy. That evening, Edward is barbecuing pork tenderloin, and I am drinking too much, because drinking feels so good. Everything is funnier, less pointy and sharp. Our friends Daryl and Allison Seal are over, and we're talking about my treatment plan like I've had cancer for years, and we all know the routine. After dinner, we laze around the living room on our worn-out IKEA sofas, and I drink more red wine, and my eyes are bloodshot. I'm listening to my husband and Daryl play guitar. My dad wants to hear Sweet Caroline, and even though they don't know the chords, they wing it. And Greenie sings the words he can remember in whatever order they come to him, and Edward is laughing with Daryl. Georgia is in her zip-up fleece pajamas with the baggy bottom, and she wants to hear her favorite song, which is Daryl and Edward's best one, The Only Living Boy in New York. Edward and Daryl play for Georgia. She won't sing out loud, but she stares at her dad's face as he sings, and her lips move to the words. Imprints are being made. She adores him. Then Allison suggests this old song by the guy from Little Feat called Roll 'em Easy. It's the first song I ever heard Edward play. When he gets to the line I like, he looks across at me with his pinchy guitar-playing face and nods. I have dined in palaces, drunk wine with kings and queens, but darlin', oh darlin', you're the best thing I've ever seen. I shift my position on the sofa, so my head is on a big lumpy pillow in Greenie's lap, and Georgia is leaning back against my middle, and Claire is just about asleep on the floor. Allison and I catch eyes, and she tilts her head and smiles, and when I smile back, we both well up with tears. I think because we both recognize that whatever else may be unfolding, this is happiness.
Well done. I remember that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still don't get the words to Sweet Caroline correct. I still boot the song around.